I think I'm going to change it a little bit. I don't have my deck of cards, but I'll give you one of two options.
Okay.
Either you tell me one thing about you that nobody knows that you want to share with everybody in Henderson and the world right now, or I get to pick from my. I'm supposed to have a deck of cards here, but I don't have them. You get to listen to one of my bad dad jokes.
Okay, I actually have something to share that no one knows.
Okay, let's do that.
Only a few people know this from way back when. At some point in time, years and years ago, I was in my late 20s. I was actually training to be a clown, But I was training with the main clown in the O show. I would go
Wow.
and have, I know, right?
That's like senior clown management. All right, welcome back to Hello Henderson, and we are here today with Carami Olsen of Pilula Pod. Hi, Carami, welcome back to the show. First of all, before you begin, I want to say thank you once again for being my co-host at Tech Alley Henderson. What a wonderful evening that was.
Oh, that was amazing. And you're thanking me. I need to thank you. That was an amazing opportunity. And what energy in that room. So
Yes,
thank you for having me.
absolutely. It was my pleasure. Now, for those who don't know who is Carami Olsen and what is Pilula Pod, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Pilula?
Okay. Well, my name's Carami, and I have created a product, and it has grown into be the name Pilula. Pilula means pill in Latin. And it wasn't always named Pilula. When in the very beginnings, about 3 years ago, when I was looking for a name, I came up with some pretty bad names. But anyway, I fell upon this one and I was like, that's it. It just fits. So anyway, Pilula means pill in Latin. And what I was uh, searching to do and wanting to do is to create a beautiful pill organizer or a pill box, something that you could throw in your purse or in your bag or in your travels that you weren't embarrassed of, something beautiful, something with aesthetic, something that made you feel good. And so that was the birth of Pilula over um, many, many hours of design and searching and trying and prototyping and manufacturing. And here we are with our very first product, which includes a tracking app, which is called Pilula Track. It's on the App Store and in Google Play. But the point is we've just developed our very first product, and we're excited to develop more lines.
Amazing. And then we should probably mention this is Henderson's own product, Henderson's own success story, correct?
I would have never been able to do this without the support of the community. I've been in Henderson for it's almost 13 years now, and prior to that, I was in Las Vegas. So basically the same town. But anyway, I'm in Henderson for sure. Love it. I was a high school teacher at Green Valley High School for years and years and years. So when I started this project of Pilula, I was moonlighting. And so after I'd be done with school, I put in a few hours on Pilula, and that went on for a couple of years until I was able to resign from teaching. But that being said, I was in the heart of Henderson and in the heart of the startup community. And people were pushing me along and applauding me and saying, you can do this. Yes, I love it. I love it. And let me see your next prototype and let me help you with your prototype. In fact, the first person that made my very first prototype was one of the teachers at Green Valley. He had a 3D printer, and I went to him with my drawings, and I was like, this is what I'm trying to create. And that's where it started. Now, when I think back on that, I'm like, that was crazy for me to ask him to do that. And I guess not, because it got me to my next real prototype and manufacturing. But the community has been amazing. I'm a client of the Small Business Development Center. And early on, I found them in the Green Valley Library, right here in Henderson. I found them. They had a table set up, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to do this. And that was early, early on. And my advisor just took me through the steps of of starting the business correctly, getting the trademark, all those things. I mean, we just step by step by step. So yes, the Henderson community has been amazing. And then on to, once I've launched it, um, everyone that I've met who's in the startup ecosystem and then just around the community is just so supportive. So yeah, I just love it.
I think
So
you and
lucky.
I had a conversation about this. By the way, this every time I hear this story, it just keeps getting better and better. I'm telling you that right now, and I discovered a little bit more that you left out from the last time. So I'm loving the fact that we're having this conversation again. But there's one time we recorded at the Elevate office party where I said, because I've known you since last year, I've known you when you first started launching, I believe. I think that's when we first met. And it's like seeing your little nephew or little, not you, but the Pilula Pod. Like I look at the product as like your little part of the family. That's like, oh, it's this like little thing is going through. Yeah, there it is. So it's going through high school, it's going through college, it's growing, it's going through this iteration. So it's been really wonderful to see it succeed over the last year. Only it's only been a year. It's only been
Yeah.
a year that I've seen this, and it's grown exponentially in the last year. Can you tell us a little bit more about that growth and how what a ride that's been to you?
Yes. You know what? I'm so glad that you've um, made that connection to it being a person kind of growing along, because I'd say we're probably in junior high school right now, or it's in junior high school because I there's so much more I see with it,
Yes.
and so yeah, definitely. So the launch of the product itself, it finally the app was completed and the product itself was manufactured really right at the same time. It came together like magic. So the end of the summer last summer, and then I was able to launch and get into a few trade shows and introduce it to some buyers for some stores, things like that. So the growth is just it's one person at a time, one buyer at a time, one just and that's how growth works with this business. And sometimes you're like, oh, I want to get out there to a gazillion people at once, and that's not how it is. It's just one little step at a time.
Yep.
So the more people that hear about it and like it, then they're like, oh, I know someone that would like that or want that, even if it's not for them, let's say. But the growth, as far as people like you who have a reach or an outreach, have been so wonderful because you've helped me by getting the word out actually, and we're just going little bit by
Yeah.
little bit. It's just one store at a time, and I would love to be in a huge big box store like retail across the U.S. But I met with my retail team. How was it? Early February, and we looked at our goals, and they're like, "Well, what are our goals? Our goals are to be in 100 stores, in a certain amount of time." And they're like, "You can't, just so you know, Carami, because they've been doing this forever. They're like, you can't go national right now." So I'm telling you that because if a national store called me and said, "I want you right now," like I wouldn't even be able to output all of that.
And that's such a great thing to say because I think I last year when I went on stage at Tech Alley Henderson, and I know what I did wrong, and I don't look at things wrong as failures. I look at them as growth opportunities. I stood on stage and I opened my mouth, and everything that I wanted to do, I just threw on the whole audience. That nobody's ready for that. Sometimes you're not ready for that. Sometimes you're not ready. They're not ready. So I mean, I think that's a really great lesson for people to learn is that not because you want to, that doesn't mean that you can do it tomorrow. You got to crawl before you walk, right? You got to
Yeah.
walk before you run. Exactly. And that's a really important lesson that a lot of people don't really take into consideration. And then, if I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm right here or wrong, is that I feel like when people get disappointed early on because they didn't meet their expectation or their own expectation that they set for themselves, they get defeated early and they start giving up on their dreams, right?
Right.
I want to bring up the story how you went from teaching to this, and this is something that we covered on a personal conversation before that I think it could be part of this episode that's really
Yeah.
interesting, and that is you call it second life.
Second
No, I'm
half.
sorry,
Second half.
second half, right? I call mine chapter five. Other people in the general consensus of things, people call it midlife crisis. But you have an interesting explanation of why do people call it midlife crisis?
Okay. Well, I'm going to answer that question first, and then I'm going to tell you how I got to it. So I started thinking about this a few years ago. People calling it a midlife crisis, and I think it's because it's not your own crisis. You finally decided to choose something for yourself, and you're going to do this, and it's affecting the other people in your life. You're no longer waiting hand and foot on people and saying what they want like all the time, like, and not to be crazy, but not fully supporting their dreams and putting yours aside. You're putting yourself ahead, and you're doing these amazing things, and you're kind of in midlife, and so they're like, oh, you're having a midlife crisis. Well, it's their crisis because you're no longer.
You're fine. You're enjoying yourself finally.
That's exactly right. That's the way I feel about the term midlife crisis, because they're affected, but you're not. You're like, sweet, I'm having fun. I'm finally choosing some things for myself.
All right. So why do you call yours second half? Second half.
Second half. Yeah. Basically second half. And then
Yeah.
I ended up starting a blog and a podcast called Second Half Chronicles. But so I was coming up on my 47th birthday. I was approaching it. I was going to be 47. And somehow I started looking at my grandmother's birthdays or their dates or something. It was all within like a few months. And I was like, oh my gosh, they both lived until they were 94 years old. They were of different ages. They passed away in different years, but they both lived to 94. Well, 94 divided by 2 is 47. And at that time, I was 46, and I was like, gosh, is this all there is? I mean, I was teaching and in the dregs of like finishing raising my kids, and I was like, okay, I didn't really do my dreams fully. I didn't become a clown. I didn't. There's some things I didn't do yet, but I had done so many amazing things, by the way. But I was like, well, is this all there is? I mean, I don't know. Am I on my way out? Am I done? You kind of get that. Society has made us feel like we're kind of done when we're approaching, like, 50 or whatever age, women especially. And I said, wait, my grandmother's lived till they were 94. I'm only halfway there. I'm not even halfway. And I was like, no way. And it energized me. Like, I was like, oh, I still have half a life to go. Oh my goodness, I have half a life to go. And I started writing my blog right away. And it's called Second Half Chronicles. And that just energized me. And then I ended up doing 10 podcast episodes with that. And I haven't continued the podcast because I started Pilula, and Pilula was a lot. So that led me into creating this product right here, Pilula. And I said, I can do this. I still have another 40 years to go. What am I talking about? I'm not on my way out. I'm not almost done. So that's, did I leave anything out from last time I told you?
No, I did. This is great. I love it. I'm glad that you covered that, because it is such a wonderful story. And I love the fact that it's called Second Half. And I feel like everybody should probably call it something that means something to them. Like, for example, you inspired me actually to give mine a name, right?
Oh.
I think the last time you and I spoke, I said, oh, I'm going through midlife crisis. I start riding motorcycles. I go hand in my license at the DMV and I say, hi, I'm here because I have a midlife crisis. And you correct me. You said, no, it's not midlife crisis for you. It's midlife crisis for everybody else. And that's when we started having the conversation. So I started thinking about it, and I call mine Chapter 5. Now, there's a misconception because I'm turning 50 next year. That's why I call it Chapter 5. Actually, no, that's not it. And I'll get into that, like all the details later. But basically, I looked at my life and I looked at the different phases of my life and the things that I went through. And this is the 5th major thing that happened to me a few years ago in my life that's like almost changed my life completely. I feel like I went through different chapters of my life where things affected me. The only difference this one matters is because I feel like this is the chapter that I'm writing. Every other chapter before, somebody wrote it for me.
Yes.
So to me, that's why I feel like my best chapter is this one. All the other chapters, great things happen, really bad things happen, but it led me to where I am today, which is now I feel like this is the best part of my life.
Well, and if we're so lucky to live along, to live into these years and these later years, I have noticed now that I've approached this and started doing a little more research, if you will, or even the internet algorithm comes up, it shows that women, I use women because that's who comes up on my algorithm mostly.
Well, you are a woman, so I would expect you to look at women. So that makes sense.
But they always say how fortunate they are to live longer. They're choosing their own stuff then. So to go along with your Chapter 5, you're like, this is the chapter I'm writing. And so everyone just says it just gets better and better. So I just want the young people to know that.
Because that grind, man, that grind in your 20s and 30s, even into your 40s, man, there's crap that happens.
Builds
You're
character,
stupid,
though.
you ruin your credit. I don't know, all things.
Builds
That,
character, and your armor gets tougher and tougher. You can't hurt
yeah,
me, right?
right.
Like, I've seen it all. So you can do nothing that surprises me anymore.
Yeah, it just gets better and better. I love that. You're saying you're writing your own. Jane Fonda calls hers her the third part of her life. I don't know. She's, and of course is she in her 70s? I mean, she says it's her third part or something like that.
I'm not technically writing a book, but you've given me ideas before about writing a book, maybe, or doing something. But I believe you have something to share that's in the form of literature.
Actually, yeah, it's actually, let me grab this. So
Yeah,
this
I
is,
saw it back there earlier. I don't
I
want to
know.
say anything. Are you ready to share with us?
Yes, and you know what? I have this actually on Amazon, and we did not do this show so that I could plug this. I actually just pulled it out a minute ago, and I was like, I've never even shown you this. So here I am,
Yeah.
I do all these things. But when I first started thinking about second half, I came up with this journal. So it's a journal that will prompt somebody who feels like they're kind of like, I don't know what's next, and it has these prompts of what to
Oh,
write, different prompts of what to write, some great quotes and things like that. So the first 20 pages has some activities for you to do, and then journal pages at the end.
I love that.
So
It's not a book. It's literally a journal with instructions.
yeah, my
I
second
love
half
that.
chrono. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of crazy. I got on and I figured out how to do this, and this is now on Amazon. And I just have to be proud of it. And I have to say, in the last year since I've launched Pilula, this has definitely taken a back seat. And I didn't do a lot of promoting with the Second Half Chronicles journal, but it's actually an amazing tool for anyone who's like, okay, well, what do I want to do? It has all the prompts in it. I think there's 20 prompts I have to read through and stuff like that. So there we go. I know
I'm not trying to be a salesman here or anything, but I'm looking at two great Mother Day gifts, and it's just around the corner. Just
okay,
out
you're
there.
the best. I know. And I need salesmen on my team.
I'm not a salesman. I just see things. That's sometimes I
I'm just
say
not very
things.
good at it. I'm just like, you know what? This is really cool. I had fun creating it, but I did, of course.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
like the idea that you put together a journal. Like I said, it looks like a journal with instructions because a lot of times people get journals and they're just empty pages. They don't know what to do with it. I like the fact that it has prompts because it tells you. So, what's your favorite prompt in there? What's one prompt that people should like really pay
Okay.
attention to?
Um, God. Okay. So it starts with a self-reflection quiz. Let me go.
Ooh.
And then the one that people have a really hard time filling out is the skills acquired in my first half. They don't want
Oh,
to think about themselves very much. I've actually done some workshops with this, and they're like, oh, I don't know what I've acquired, and I'm like, let's talk about them.
they don't think about it, or maybe they're too
Um,
embarrassed to admit that they didn't accomplish much.
yeah. There's two
Oh,
other ones.
wow.
The other one that I absolutely love are the dreams that got away. So I prompt them to fill in anything from when they were a young child. The dreams that got away, they need to fill those in. And then I have these plans. So you've always heard of like write out a 1-year plan or a 5-year plan. All the college students are told to write out a 5-year plan. I have on here a 20-year plan, and people never ask a 50-year-old, what's your 20-year plan? Or I mean, I know that sounds kind of crazy. Of course, you're not going to plan out your whole life, but no one ever asks anyone in midlife what their 5-year or 20-year plan is. And so I have those. I have 1, 5, 10, and 20 in here. So my favorite one is the dreams that got away. And then my second favorite is the 20-year plan. I know that sounds crazy, but
No, I don't think it sounds crazy because I think for people in their 50s, that would be me pretty soon. If somebody were to ask me, like, what are your 20-year plan? I, I would say probably leave a lasting legacy, something for my kids to say, my dad did this for me. That to me, that would be an opportunity for me to build something to outlast me beyond my life that people can benefit from.
right.
So that's something that I would do. So that's a really good question. That's a thought-provoking question. It makes you take it seriously too. It makes you take the journal entry seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your dreams that got away? No.
I'm the same with you. I almost went skydiving see, I was kind of part like a background piece of the people who worked in Vegas, who perform in Vegas. So anyway, one of the skydivers from the skydiving Elvises, what were they called? anyway, the Elvises that would skydive.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, we'll take you. I'll take you. And then, I don't know, within like a year of that conversation, I ended up becoming expecting of my first baby. I became pregnant, and I said, never, I would never do it. So I'm with you, but who knows? Maybe we'll revisit that. But once I had a baby, I was like, I'm never going with skydiving. It's too scary. But one thing that got away, who I haven't done yet, is go stay extensively in Europe. My husband says, I like to watch any show that has like an accent. And he's right. Like any movie that comes out that's like English or something like that, I'm like, oh, especially, back in old fashioned. He laughs about that. But I would love to go and stay extensively in Europe, not just visit for and run around a city for a day and then leave. I'd love to actually live for several months, like a full summer, and visit with people who live there. So that is a dream that's on my list.
Does Pilula Pod or second life, a second half book have an opportunity of going global?
Oh man, well of course, yes, but I haven't really touched on it yet. But yeah,
It sounds like it should be part of your maybe a 5-year plan, not 20-year plan.
Okay, let's do it. Because what if I go over and stay there and
You got to make sure that maybe you go on a book tour,
I love it. Perfect.
right? I love that idea. So if you had to pick a city in or a country or a region in Europe, where would it be?
Okay. I've always thought I wanted to visit Spain. Something about Spain is really, really interesting to me, for an extended amount of time, and then visit England kind of for less time. And then I'm always interested in Ireland. So those are ones that come on my mind immediately when you ask me that question.
Wow, those are very lovely places. I've not been to either one of those. I've been to other places in Europe, but I would say those are up there too. I'd want to visit one of those places too. All right. What is next for Pilula, and what is next let's start off with Pilula. What's next for Pilula?
Okay, so we're really focusing on, I have something really, really exciting coming up. Somebody's building me some AI tools to help me with some distribution. So really we're working on in 2026, just getting it into stores. That is a big feat in and of itself. So the more stores it gets in, the more the other stores want it. So that's kind of like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, oh, well, what stores is it in? Maybe we'll purchase it. It's an interesting thing selling a product, but then once they know that other people have it, then they want it. So that's a game that we're working on and playing this whole year. So I have my goals there. As far as creating the next product in the line, I'd love to start working on that at the end of the summer. So
Okay.
I have some other products that I'd love, not just colors. Okay. So the colors I have right now are here. I'll just share them with you really quick. So this is a sand color. This is what the box looks like. It comes.
Yeah.
So this is the sand. And then I have the pearl color. And then I have the pink one. The pink one as well. And the gals love the pink one, by the way. The pink is a really light pink.
Yeah, it's a soft pink. It's not like,
Yeah.
bubble pink. Yeah.
Next to the white. But the reason I say that is we can do some other colors. We're thinking of doing some masculine colors. So that would be quicker than creating another product. So the
Anything
other
with leather or
product-
chains coming up soon? I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Well, okay. Actually, that would probably be down the line of products because I do want to move into Pilula Sport would be my next one. But
Oh.
because it would be built or created in different materials.
Yeah,
you know,
no kidding.
something more durable. So with
Yeah.
that one, we might be able to do leathers and chains. I
Oh, yeah.
love it.
Speaking from a biker mentality, I'm not a traditional biker.
I've
But I
heard
do.
you.
Something I can carry right on my front handlebars.
Yes.
Pop pillow.
Oh my
You know what
God,
I really
love it.
like about your product too is that my other life, which is my passion, I love doing this, but I do more than just podcasting, right? I do professional
Yeah.
services, I do agile coaching, I do teachings. So, and one of the things I always teach people in my line of work is that I'm not a technologist, I'm not an engineer, but everything I do is technology adjacent, and I teach people, about agile and project management and product management. And often when I meet small businesses or medium businesses or startups or anything like that, they say like, well, you know, that whatever you're doing is only applies to technology and software. That doesn't apply to me. And I challenge anybody that says that, because my response is, tell me a business out there that does not use technology or engineering or software or AI for them to run their business. I even brought it down to a taco truck. How
Right.
a taco truck uses technology to elevate their business and help their business. And
Oh my
you
gosh.
are a perfect example of that. It's a pillbox, but it's
Right.
beyond that. You using technology and AI and
Mhm.
development, not just to expand it, but to even work with it through an app store to remind you when you have pills. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, yes. Oh my gosh, I didn't even go into that. So inside the box, I'll just pull out one of these. So comes the Pilula Track app subscription. You can log in and just get it on the App Store or the Google Play. So it gives you the instructions there, reminds you to get it. But so we created an app, and I'll tell you why I created the app. Because while I was doing the research and development for the pill box itself, the pill organizer, this right here, all of the people I talked to, I mean, I did lots and lots of interviews and surveys. They said, I love it. I love the idea. And they said, but guess what? I just keep forgetting. I just keep forgetting to take it. That's my main problem. I even had somebody say, I go in front of the Ring camera in my front door and take my pill that I need to take that day. And that was for more of a medication type thing that's very important, you know. And then later on in the day, they're like, oh, did I take it? It's 2 in the afternoon. And they can check their Ring camera. Oh, yeah, I did. And so my point is I said, oh, I need to create an app to remind you. It's just a very subtle ping. It's nothing crazy that is embarrassing. So my company really is sensitive to aesthetics and just the way it makes you feel and also helping you. So it's a subtle ping. If you don't get on there and mark that you took your vitamin or something like that, then it will ping a wellness companion for you 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that. That's one of the features that we developed, and it's so great. So anyway, we went ahead and developed it, and you can put as many supplements on there if you want. If you want to put 20 on there, you can. Whatever. And as many wellness companions as you want. Because I met with people, and they're like, listen, there were 8 of us trying to keep track of my grandma, and we all wish we had this app at that time. You know what I mean? So anyway, super excited about Pilula Track, the app. And yes, again, you're asking for what else we're doing with the app. If we get the right funding, we want to put an AI, an AI component on it. There's some different things we want to do with it, but we're working on getting the funding for that.
Well, I mean, I love what you said, because at the surface, people don't think about the necessities or the benefits that are very glaring, but sometimes they don't look at them. At its core, it looks like a pillbox, and you got an app that reminds you. But you just covered something that's really important that actually touches a lot of people: parents, relatives, sick relatives, senior citizens who have somebody to look after them. And we all do. A lot of us have people that we want to look after and want to make sure that they're doing okay. So if you have the app, but then let's say your wellness companion who can get a notification that says like, hey, grandpa didn't take their medicine today, or grandma didn't take her shot today. People don't think about that stuff, right?
Right. It also takes away, if they did take it, let's say that this person is taking it on the regular basis, it takes away that conversation. So there's already a lot of strain going on with these
Yes.
relationships. Oh my gosh, we need to make sure she's taking that. All they need to do is check the app and be like, okay, she took it. I don't even have to phone call her or text her, or you know what I mean? And she's fine.
Right.
The other one is this pink one. One of my very, very first customers got this pink one. Well, what it was a gal who was 16 years old who was just having some serious health situation going on, and she had to take her medication. It was detrimental, and that mom wanted to know, and the daughter was going to high school, and she's like, quit freaking texting me and quit asking me, and you know what I mean, like, mom, leave me alone while I'm at school. And the mom was just beside herself, like at home going, oh my gosh, I hope she took that at lunch, because it was very important that she took this
Yeah.
pill. You know what I mean? And her mom was so happy about this because then the daughter would just go like that and mark that she took it. And the mom was just like, okay, she took it, you know. So anyway,
I mean, again, what great benefit, what a great story. I mean,
yeah.
we have, again, Henderson community resident who decided to do something that's so impactful in this world, and it's growing greatly. We have the book, the journal, coming out soon. Again, it's out already, right? It's already
But
out.
yeah, this is on Amazon. It's my second half Chronicles journal.
What message do you want to tell the people that are struggling with their starting their second half, or thinking about the dreams that they missed, or thinking about starting something but they're not sure, or they're being told by people around them, hey, you're probably just going through some midlife crisis. Why don't you just have a cookie and feel better about yourself?
It's never too late. I follow this gal on Instagram who started working out at 70. And she was pretty plump. And now she looks amazing, but better than that, she feels amazing. And she's now 80. So anyway, she's like, I feel good. And I thought it was too late. And she goes, and I didn't like working out. But I'm just saying, it's never too late. Just keep going. And then try to find that passion and that spark and go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. All right, how can people get a Pilula box or second half journal?
Awesome. Okay, so you can find us on Instagram super easy at Pilula Pod. And there's also our website, pilulapod.com. You can order it there. And we're almost on Amazon, really, really close. It might take a little bit longer. So you can order it straight from there. Our second half chronicles, it's called My Second Half Chronicles Journal. That's also on Amazon, actually. So the Pilula Pod is not yet on Amazon, but you can order it off of our e-commerce store.
It'll be there soon.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
And where can people buy it now in person? Are you somewhere? Can people come see the pill box?
I opened a retail location for the holiday. That was super amazing. But I'm not going to run retail right now myself in my little team. But it's in some stores around town. I'm trying to think of, actually, the stores that it's in are out of town. It's still in CT Rose Salon here in Vegas. But you can email me or text me if you're wanting to get a handful of them and you don't want to pay shipping. We can work that out as well.
All right, there you go,
yeah,
folks. And if you want a Pilula Pod, or if you want to get the second half Chronicle Journal, where you know where to go, we'll put the information right on the screen, and we'll put it in the description below as well for people
I'll
to.
What
do you want to tell the people of Henderson and anybody that's listening out there? What's your message to them?
You know, Henderson is such a warm community. I moved from Las Vegas to Henderson. I was in Summerlin, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm moving. It's like moving to a different city. And it is a different city. It's warm, supportive, and fun. It's kind of a sleepy little town. Like, we don't have a lot of crime or anything like that. So it's wonderful. You feel safe here. And everyone's supportive. The Henderson Chamber, our mayor, just everyone is very, very supportive of anything that goes on here in Henderson. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, Carami Olsen of Pilula Pod and Second Half Journal, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. If you like what you heard, if you want to hear some more, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know who you want us to feature. I hear some people want me to feature some folks from the Mint Company. Apparently there's a company here that started the Space Pen. Somebody said, hey, you should interview those people. We want to hear more of that. Who do you want to see on the show? We want to make this show for you. This is a show for Henderson, so we want to make sure that you like it and make sure that we put things on here that you like. Carami Olsen, once again, thank you so much for being on Hello Henderson, and see you soon, Henderson. This is Haas, and this is Deathsprint Radio.
Thank you. Bye.
That's actually quite the story. Do you remember anything about your time there?
One thing that I learned is when something looks easy, when someone makes something look easy, it's actually because they've perfected it so well, and it's actually so much harder than they make it appear.
We're just going to talk about whatever we want to talk about. This is my show. I do whatever I want. Nobody can tell me what to do, except my wife, maybe.